Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. My name is Mufidah Saraswati. NPMA 1B 022 today, we're going to explore a journal article entitled the Implementation of the Integrated Performance Assessment, or IPA, model to improve English student speaking skills. This article, written by three researchers, first is Ildi Kurniawan, second is Shafrizal Sabaruddin, and the last is Azhar Aziz Lubis. So this article talks about which application of the IPA models that could improve Indonesian student in speaking skill. And today I will walk you through the main points and why they are matters. Let's start our exploration. First, we'll talk about Integrated Performance Assessment, or IPA. According to the Center of Advanced Research on Language Acquisition, University of Minnesota, IPA is defined as a classroom-based performance assessment model which is used to evaluate student communication skills in the three models of communication, such as first is interpretative, which involves reading and listening text. It's where the lecturer assesses student to understanding the topic, and student will try to understand it and analyze what they see or feel to the topic. And then number two is interpersonal, where the lecturer assessment of activities where students will interact, negotiate, share information or opinion about the text. And the last is presentational, where there is an assessment of student performance either in the form of material presentation or describing something written or spoken. And the, that's three models of communication in IPA. In according to the researchers' knowledge, English-speaking classes in Indonesian have never used this model. That's why the researchers decided to use this model as the research. First and next, the method. So the research setting was the speaking for discussion class. The place where they're doing this research is in the English Education Study Program, Department of Language and Arts in University of Bengkulu. They begin it from the third week of August to the fourth week of October in 2021. So this is for cycles, the methodology they use. First is planning, where they will developing what the strategies they will use, preparing what they want to teach, and preparing the IPA they will use for teaching. Next is implementation, where they're doing the teaching process, where And the less after they doing this, they will teach them, give the students the questionnaire each cycles they're doing. Next is observation. When they doing the process, they will observe the process and record what things that considered necessary during the learning process. And the last is reflection, where the researchers analyze the data that has been collected, like observation, spreadsheet, self-assessment, IPA sheet, and questionnaires. And the data will compare to the success indicator established at the planning stage. When the one cycle is um, the result is good, they will continue the next cycles. But if it's not, they will not doing continue their next cycles. Next is findings. So from the process teaching, they found the result on the research process. First, they show us the graph of average of student speaking score for each cycles. From the graph, it's clearly seen that the student scores for speaking slightly increase at cycles 1 and cycle 2, but it's decreased in cycle 3, but it improved in the last cycles is cycle 4. The high score is 82 and it's categorized as a novice high, meaning that this implementation of IPA can help students get better performance at the end of the cycles. Next, they show us the student level of ability on speaking skill. This graph number 2. The graph number 2 show that students have a good level of speaking with total of 21 students, and only 8 out of 39 students are categorized into the high level of speaking skill, and 10 students is novice level. In short, there are many students in the class have shown good speaking performance. And next is the last graph about students' mastery on speaking. In this graph, it shows that fluency and grammar is still become the main problem faced by students. It's only 21% and 29% respectively. But however, vocabulary and comprehension are also in between position, while the highest is pronunciation. It shows that the student have a good speaking skill. Next, we'll begin the discussion where there are from all of the method, from all the results, there are 3 main discussion that to discuss from this research. First is 1, the average score in cycle 3 decreased, but then increased slightly in cycle 4. Why? The possible explanation for this is that each week they need to study different topic of discussion. Sometimes students still new. The topic were new for them, and it caused to lack of any background knowledge about the content. So, but if they handle it good, good to handle it, it's it actually bring a good benefit to them. It will influence the final score. The speaking skill maybe in understanding fluency like that. Next is another possible cause was the obligation of a student to give an opinion regarding topic being discussed in class. Perhaps some student could give their opinion due to some reason like they had to gather complete information before taking a group discussion, which also takes so much time. But if they give their opinion, maybe they will more make a discussion environment become a good discussion. Next is number two is the overall level of ability student in speaking skill at a reasonable level. What makes this happen? Are there any factor of influence that matter? So this assumption that led the fact that students could not achieve the highest level of speaking skill was due to several factors. First is the language skill level required in the class was much more complicated because they had to master all component of speaking skill. Um, the speaking skill they need to master is such as grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation, understanding, and fluency. It could not be denied that these things are that these things are mostly become complicated to them to understand it by once. They need sometimes not, and I think it's not a lot of time to become master all of those components of speaking skill. Next is most students were still not confident enough to express their ideas on a particular topic that was being discussed. Since they lack knowledge, since they lack knowledge about the content of the topics. Well, um, because I think they're not confident because they'll still feel embarrassed, feel afraid to express because they think it will wrong and they will feel embarrassed and never being brave to express what they're going to say. That's why I think, but if they being brave, this could make a good impact for them so they can express their ideas more and not being afraid again to tell what they want to say. And the last is there are external factors that possibly affected during success of student in speaking for discussion activities. There are including internet connection, electronic device used at time concerts they had. Maybe it's also the time where the COVID-19 is become it's happened, and most of students is studied at home, and their home maybe were limited internet access. So not all student had a sophisticated smartphone and laptop to support their study or internet connection. That's why maybe then it's make a bad impact to success of student in speaking for discussion activities. The next discussion is why fluency and grammar become the main problem faced by students. Meanwhile, pronunciation is significantly improved for students in speaking skill. Almost students had ideas to get involved actively in the discussion, but because it's required them to use English, it was a great challenge for them to participate. Because as you can see, not all of students understand what English means. That's why they maybe feel more challenged to participate because it's different for their usual language. And number two is mastering the rules only is not enough for students to become great speaker. They also need other components of speaking skill to be perfect speakers. Yes, because to become a perfect speaker is not only for vocabulary or such pronunciation. We must understand too. We must have a good fluency and grammar because we can say we can become a speaker without understanding all of that components. And the last is their pronunciation improved because of their curiosity about how to pronounce the unfamiliar words they had during taking this course. So the good side for this research is the students is curious about how to pronounce the unfamiliar word. That's why psych that's why the graph for pronunciation is really good from this research. Okay, I think that's all for this research. The conclusion of this research is from the finding and this discussion describe that implementing of IPA model can improve student speaking skill. But in addition, there are also internal and external factors that maybe play a role in determining the success of student in the speaking class. The squeeze of shame, a lack of confidence, and fear of doing wrong become internal factor student face, and furthermore, external factors such as internet access and device tools use and time constraint are other part that contributed to their speaking performance. So IPA IPA model is good to becomes the material that need to implement it in Indonesian classes. I hope in the future that our student our future student can use this IPA model so they can more improving their speaking skill. Thank you. That's all from me. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.